Hello everyone. Now I am going to start Python tutorial from today, and in this context, I am presenting you the Python tutorial, and there are some basic concepts which are being used in the Python. So we will learn those concepts to make our grip strong in the Python. All right. So now, before beginning this Python tutorial, let me tell you something that have you accessed my playlist which is based on C++ and Java and also that programming basics? If you don't have access that, please go and access those tutorials also, because they will help you to generate the logics, because there also I have explained very well, and you will get. See, first few lectures. See, there are some common things in every programming language. So I have explained that very well uh, with in the combination. Sorry, combiningly for the C++ and Java, and the playlist is also given on my channel. Also, I will add those videos to the separate folders or separate playlists also, but you can find for now in the same in one playlist. So now let's begin Python tutorial. And please, before moving forward, please subscribe and also share this video to everyone. So this video is presented by the programming class by Akshay. All right. Now in this tutorial, what we will be going to learn the what is Python. So first, Python is what? It is a general purpose interpreted, interactive, object oriented, and high level programming language. All right. So it is. What do you mean by interpreted? Interpretation means what? Just reading the code line by line and finding errors if any, and if there is any error, then it will reflect. And what is the compiler? Compiling is the same process in which you can find errors, the compiler or the IDE find errors, all right, and it returns the errors, but in compilation process, the whole sum of code is compiled at once. So now, what is interactive? Interactive means you have interaction with the language. That is, it uses the simple English language, like for declaring a variable, it will use a variable, it will directly see in the Python, you can directly assign value to a variable and the variable will be known of that type. But in Java and C++ and C languages, you have to define the type of variable, but here it is not needed. Now, object oriented. I have very well explained in the first lecture of C++. You can in C++ and Java what is object oriented. Please access that video to know about object oriented. And high level means what? Which is used to communicate with the user. All right. Now, it was created by whom? It was created by this Guido van Rossum during 1985 to 1990. Okay. So now Python, we are going to use the Python 3. All right. It was released in the 2008. Okay. See, this is version of Python. Just like app versions comes that 1, 2, 3, 1.1. Similarly, this is Python 3.0. All right. So now, see, in this tutorial, uh, you will be learning the language from scratch. But for that, there are some prerequisites. What are these prerequisites? That is, you should have a basic understanding of computer programming terminologies. For this terminologies, see, I have told you that I have playlists in my channel. So please kindly access those playlists, because you will get these videos, and it's very, I think, waste of time in explaining again those terminologies. But in simple way, I can explain that there are operators, there are functions, there are the loops, and there are if else statements. So I will be telling as in the whole. Okay. So now again, and next, see, this print function and reading input from keyboard, I will tell you later in this section. All right, but it is present in the Python that when you have to print a result in the console, all right, so you have to use print function, and when you have to take input from the user, then you use input keyboard. Okay, now what is Python? Python is high level interpreted and interactive object oriented scripting language, as I have already told you. Okay, so now what are the properties of Python? Okay, functions of Python, you can say that. So what is Python? Python is interpreted and interactive. All right, so what is interpreted? I have already told that when the code is checked line by line, whether it is containing any error or not, then it is known as interpreted. And when it is known as compile, compile is used when the whole set of code or the source code is checked once. All right, suppose you have written a set of code in an IDE, then the whole code compiles at a one. Like Java, in the Java tutorial, I have shown you that when you complete your program, then when you click on compile, all right, then it will compile the program. So it means that compilation occurs in a way that the whole program is debugged. Not sorry, debug. It is checked for errors, and we have to debug that. Then, right. And very easiest way to debug the program is to make errors and learn from the experience. All right. Now, what Python is object oriented. Object oriented is a concept which is used. See, object. What are objects? See, there are generally we use functions. Now, what if we have to make similar copies of that function? Suppose I have given you the example in my previous tutorials in the C++ and Java that when you have a photocopy of certain things. See, let me explain you with the example of this what note. That is one note. One note. All right. Now let me add. This was previous lectures video. Now let me add some. Okay. Now. Okay. All right. So suppose if I have this original document. Now what I have to do? I have to make its copies. Why? See, I suppose in India it is the I am see in any country you can say that I have ID proof. All right, and if I go to college, they want that I have to produce ID. All right, when I go for driving license, then also they ask for to produce ID. When I go for some government schemes, they also want us to provide the ID proof. So what we do, we don't provide the original ID. All right, we just make some photocopies, and then we just uh, submit them to the respective departments. So the object oriented programming do the same. It just write the programs once. All right, it write program once. All right, and then it can be used multiple times. So this is very basic concept of object oriented programming. And after that, in the object oriented programming, there are some features like abstraction, encapsulation. See, listen my words carefully. Don't go on this, but listen my words carefully. So abstraction, then data hiding, then polymorphism. See, data abstraction means we have to the user is presented the abstracted view. Abstracted means what? Abstracted view contains what? The only thing which is required, not everything. Encapsulation means wrapping up of data and functions. See, when you wrap up in a capsule, then it becomes secure. And then what is data hiding? Data hiding is singular. Data hiding is used by the encapsulation to hide the data. Polymorphism. See, this example you can say for polymorphism that it can be having more than one form. All right. So these concepts I will be explaining in the object oriented part. But for now, for the basics, just remember this much. All right, now features of Python programming I am presenting to you. Just read them line by line. You will get the meaning of them. All right. So first is easy to learn, that you can learn it easily. You can easily read. If we write a code in Python, you can easily read that code. Then easy to maintain. Then we can maintain the source code easily. And like this, please read all the points, because we should move towards the main content. All right. Now what comes? See, every language have some reserved words. All right. So Python also has reserved words. So see, language itself uses some words which are known as keywords. And those keywords are known as reserved words. Suppose if I say that if I use the keyword what? Suppose if you know about for loop. So I am using for loop here. So for is what? For is a keyword because it is used by the what? It is used by programming language to define something. So some keywords which are used by the programming language are known as keywords, and these keywords are known as reserved words because these are reserved by the programming language. All right. So what are they? And as assert, break, class. These will please have a look once, and these will be we will be using these keywords in the coding. All right. Now, what is indentation and lines? See, in other programming language, if I have to define a scope, then I have to use this curly braces. All right. So we can write curly braces like this also. We can write like this also. We can align in one line. So, all right. But Python don't use the curly braces. Python don't use it use indentation. Sorry. Python uses indentation. What is indentation? Suppose I have written one line starting from this point and ending to this point. All right. But now, if I now and its scope will be start the content of this line starts from this. Suppose this is a block. Let me explain with the block, because the pair of curly braces represents a block. Suppose this is a block. All right. And this is also a block. How can I define a block? Suppose this is for loop, which is starting here and ending here. All right. This is start of loop and this is end of loop, end of body of loop. So now what we do in general programming, we just define this scope. This is scope. Now what we can do in Python? In Python, it is not this kind that we define it. We have some spaces or we have some pattern. Just like when I declare for loop, now what Python will use? It will use 4 spaces and then it will start writing. And whatever is written in the in this space, and it will continue to run. All right, it will continue to write. That only will be the body of that. That means that will be the block for the for loop. And if I will move something from something away from this, all right, so its scope will be gets over. That is for loop's scope will be over. If I have encountered another for loop here and its scope again start from here, then it will be valid because it is coming under the scope. So instead of using these curly braces, we use the concept of this spacing. This concept of using spacing to define the scope is known as indentation. I think you have got, when we will do programming, you will get this also. Now, sometimes we need to apply the comments. So in Python, we use hash sign and it is a string literal at the beginning of the comment. All right. I think you have understood and got the topic. Got this one. Now, what next? Like other languages, when we have blank lines, suppose you have written some line and then you have pressed the enter twice or thrice, then what it will do, it will move to next. When second time we will press, it will move to second and third line next, and then again when we will press the enter, it will move again to the next line. So the lines which are wasted in between, the Python completely ignores them. Okay. All right. I think you have understood. Okay. Now what are variables? See, we see everyone starts programming by just writing print and that all. But I believe that the programming languages should be taught after, or the first program should be done after knowing about these concepts. Now, variables. See, when you have some data, you have to store it, and for storing, you get the memory in your laptop or the device which you are using for coding. Okay, so now when you have to store some data, then you have to get some memory in the memory, or you can say that RAM. All right, because the coding is running on the RAM. All right, and when you have to store this code permanently, then it will be stored in you can say that ROM, or you can say that the what uh, that is disk. All right, in your disk. So when you have to access some memory from the RAM or any memory, you can say, then it must be assigned some name, because suppose if I am assigning this as A, all right, so this space will be used by this variable to hold some value, because variable's definition is itself is a container that holds some value and it has some name. Okay, so what variable do? It holds some value and it gives some name in the memory. All right, memory chunk. You can say as memory chunk. So now, if I say that I have to reserve this one, all right. So if I also say that this is A, then there will be conflict. All right. To avoid this conflict, to avoid this conflict, we we have to name these memory locations. All right, so if we write this as B, so this name this memory chunk will have the name B. See how you can access. Think about this. Think how you can access. You cannot access this because you don't have any identification. Suppose I am standing in a crowded place and I say just come here, so who will come to me? No one, because I have not said anyone's name. So think like that. All right. Now, if I want to assign a name to a variable, I just simply just name that. See, this is the identifier, because it is used to identify a variable. Identifier what? Identifiers are the names given to variable. Understood? So now if you want to assign a variable a the value 10, then I will write like this. In Python we don't use this. We don't use. We can use, but we don't. All right. When you I have to, there is also concept of multiple assignment. When I have to assign two or three variables, see, values can be same, but variable name cannot be same because there will be conflict. See, two persons. See, two persons can have the same name, same value, same age. We can say that same age, or we can say that same height. All right, they have same values, but if they all they have two common names, then there will be conflict. All right, the machine is not so smart that it can distinguish. All right, so we have to use what? We have to use different variable names. So we can, if we want to supply some value to different variables, then we can use this. All right. Now we can also apply different values to different variables in this fashion. You can see that here all the variables are applying same value. But what if I want to apply this A as 1, B as 2, all right, and C as 3? How I can assign those? I can, in Python there is simplicity. I just write like this, and when I just like equalize, then the same number of values must be written as the same number of the variables are there. All right, then what are they? They are 1, 4, and 3. All right, I have to write like this. Sorry, this is true and this is done. Now, there are standard data types. Okay, what are these? In the data types tutorial of my C++ and Java, I have explained you about the data types. So this topic will be covered in our next lecture. So till then, please watch this video and share with everyone. Thank you, class. Thank you very much.